A really exciting project that we've been working on this year is Glenn's VF Commodore. So this originally was a 6-litre standard engine. We put a Magnuson 2300 blower on it, good camshaft. You know, it was a fun car. E85, made 550 odd kilowatts. It was good. But then Glenn decided, no, he wanted to put the BTR camshaft in it, do some cylinder heads. So we did do that. And it made a lot more power, but then we sort of got talking about doing a 2650 blower, and Glenn's like, nah, hell, you know, let's just do it. So we put a 2650 on it. We ordered a 2650, and at that point we decided, hey, we need to build an engine. So we built the engine, and we ended up putting, like I said, a Callie's rods in it, bullet pistons, standard stroke, standard crankshaft, BTR stage 4 camshaft, Blackwell CNC cylinder heads. We got it all together, put it on, got the car running, and realised the potential of it. And we ended up having a trunnion failure, which then pretty much meant we had to pull the engine back out, clean all the trunnions out, you know, obviously strip the engine down and do the whole process again. Wasn't a big deal, but we just had to make sure we got the trunnions or the needle rollers out. So we did all that, got it all back together, got it running with the Maggie, and it was showing some serious potential. And we had the 95mm throttle body on it, and we went to a 103 throttle body, which you would have seen in our socials, where I've had to weld up the whole front of the neck, which is this here. And pretty much, you just couldn't buy it to suit the 103, so we had to weld it all up and offset it and, you know, poured it all out so it would fit. And it wasn't an issue, and we got it to work, but it picked up 40 kilowatts, and that's a lot. So once I realised, hang on a minute, there's potential here with more airflow in the front with the throttle body, and a positive displacement blower, it doesn't like to have that restriction on the nose, so it's really important that you do get that airflow in. There is other issues that come with that, so drivability becomes a bit of an issue trying to tune that with the throttle body, but you know, you can get around it. So, but basically got all that on there and done. But then we started running into valve float issues because it wanted to rev, and it wanted to rev high, and I'm talking 8,000 revs. So at that point we were getting a little bit scared, and we're like, we're getting valve float, it's time to step up the valve springs. So we ended up putting a set of the BTR extreme valve springs in it, BTR shaft mount rocket kit, all that sort of stuff as preventative sort of, you know, work, and you know, and it really did pay off doing all that sort of stuff. And once we got it all together and running again, and we ended up going to 112mm throttle body, and this is pretty much the end product here. And you know, I had to weld the neck up again, and I had to offset it, and it was an absolute nightmare to do, but it took me a whole day to do it. And once we got it done, we got it back on the dyno, and you know, it picked up another 15 odd kilowatts with the throttle body with a bit more tuning, because we were just allowed us to just do a little bit more work on it. But at that point, you know what, let's change the pulley now, let's get some more boost into it. So we're sitting on around 18 pound of boost at that point. And we're sitting on around 780, sort of 775, 780 kilowatts, which is absolutely awesome, because our target was always to make 1,000 horsepower, which is 740 odd kilowatts. And, but you know, there's potential there. So we did the pulley, put some more boost in it, which is around 22 pound now, and you know, 844 kilowatts at the wheels or at the hubs, however you want to call it. This is still a standard stroke 6-litre, you know, no 4-inch stroke here. It's a standard crank too, mind you. We are going to pull the engine and put a decent crank in it. We are at that point where we do need to do it. But 8,200 RPM, and the big thing is that the cylinder heads, we got Blackwell to do a soft chamber on the heads, and we also dropped the compression down to 10.2. Traditionally we would run close to 11, but we're finding around that 10.2 seems to work really good with the blowers and the BTR cam when you start to get some decent boost into them. So, you know, as you can see, it's a very simple setup. The Magnuson 2650 is absolutely amazing how it works, and Mario and the team and Magnuson and all those guys, you know, VCM Performance, Magnuson themselves, it's a good blower, it's efficient. Like at this power level we're making now, 22 pound of boost, 8,200 revs, 800 plus kilowatts, 54 degrees inlet temperatures. That's what we're seeing, and they are steady, they are holding, they're not looking like they're wanting to run away at all. You know, so it just goes to show that like the brick they have in here, which is in the top, and the cooler, like this is the nose of the cooler on the front. You know, it is absolutely efficient, and you know, there is not a sight in the world of any interchillers on this or anything like that. So it just goes to show that when you set it up right, do it correctly, you don't need band-aid fixes on the outside to correct things. When it's done right, it works, and it works well. So, but you've just got to get that ingredients and the combination right. And you know, we were seeing, you know, progress, you know, with the throttle body, working on obviously getting the intake track right into the blower and removing that restriction of the blower, because I just don't like it on a draw-through setup. So yeah, look, I'm absolutely stoked. It still runs a twin 3-inch system, still has catalytic converters in the exhaust. You know, it is an absolute genuine 800 plus street car. Being a manual transmission, good luck to Glenn driving this car. You're not going to hold on to this thing at all. It will blow the tyres. Like, let's have a look at the dyno sheet. I'm overwhelmed how happy, like, it is a good thing. Like, when you look at the dyno sheet, like there it is there. So, you know, 1126 Newton meters at, there it is there, 8250. It makes peak torque at 5200 revs and holds it to say 6750 and then starts to progressively drop to 8200. Well, it's only natural it's going to drop because you're obviously running out of airflow. But 1100 Newton meters at 5200 revs, at 2500 revs, it's got 800 Newton meters and 1000 Newton meters at 4200 revs. Mate, that is impressive. 5000 revs, it's got, you know, 560 odd kilowatts. 4,000 revs, 400 kilowatts. It is an absolute animal, and I cannot wait to see Glenn when he drives it the first time. So, fuel system, it runs the twin SQP fuel pump modules in the tank using the VaporWorks controller and the voltage booster, and it's all controlled by the factory fuel pump controller, so it's all PWM controlled, variable speed, you know, 4-bar fuel pressure. But we did also end up adding an additional fuel pump into the system. We did it as an experiment because we just wanted to make sure that we did have that fuel supply there, and we weren't sure whether we were going to get where we needed to with that system in place. So we ended up putting a single Pierberg in the car or underneath, sort of rigged it up in there, just so we had it there as a foolproof to just see how it all worked. And man, it works good. It really works well. And we run 1650cc injectors. You know, no witchcraft going on there at all. It just works. So yeah, really, really happy. Like, Jesse's done all the engine work on this and done all the job itself. And you know, it looks, you know, absolutely, like once you put the front bar on it, put all the infill panels back on and, you know, clean up all this sort of stuff here, you know, like, yeah, it is so good. I'm so happy with it. Everybody involved has done a great job. So Jesse, myself, obviously tuning it, you know, Murray and the team from VCM, Magnuson, Blackwell Race Engines, the machining, the cylinder heads, you know, and, you know, we're always bouncing off each other when it comes to, you know, development and the program itself, like as in, you know, getting everything right. George at Racemax the Rex, Brian Tooley, you know, I've been on the phone with George flat out, and he's been sort of working with BTR, you know, getting the camshaft. Now, working on the valve springs, we had a bit of issue obviously before, as I said, with valve float, and then, you know, making the call to run the BTR Extreme valve springs with this combination is what we needed to do, and you know, it all worked well. Everybody's a collective working together to give Glenn the result that he required, and we smashed it. You know, going from 1,000 horsepower to 1,100, you know, 1,100 plus horsepower, you know, 840 kilowatts. Yeah, it's whatever language you want to call it, imperial metric. I don't care where you're from in the world. If you're not impressed by that, you're just not a car guy. So. But yeah, like, absolutely awesome. This runs the LSA drive. Just an absolutely primo combination. I'm a turbo guy at heart. I love a big turbo. My LSs have turbos on it, even though it's not running, but yes, it does have it. But I can tell you now, the technology in the last 4 to 5 years, you know, a good blower on a good cube engine is going to be as good as any turbo combination on the street. Hands down. The blower, the way it produces its power and the torque off the bottom, you will not find a funner car to drive in the street. Yes, the turbos are good, and I'm not saying they're better. What I'm saying is that this is a very simple combination that you just, not going to say you just bolt it together, it works, but it's as close to putting it together as you can, as opposed to all the custom side of it with the turbo. And to get these sort of results, to be able to achieve 800 plus kilowatts at the wheels, from pretty much putting a blower on top, you know, a bit of fuel system work and a bit of smart work in the engine and calibration. Wow, yeah, that's awesome. So, but anyway, thanks to everybody who's been involved. Yeah, super happy with it. And thanks to Glenn, letting us do what we wanted to do and take our time and just dial in the combination. He was so patient from the beginning, and he knew what we had to do, but he also knew that it will take time to do. And the end result, well, there it is. Absolutely primo. So thanks to everybody. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love this build. We've been excited to get this build done, and it is finally done, and we are ready to deliver it back to the customer. So thanks again, guys. Have a listen to it. You're going to love it. Catch ya.